we're already there, huh? It's good that you told me we were live. Well, good evening, not afternoon. Sorry about that. I was running about a minute late. It's almost perfect time, Kelly.
Yeah.
So Kelly's here with me tonight. My name is Steve Drew, the Chief of Police here in Newport News, and this is our chat with the Chief session for what are we February of 2024. My gosh, it seems like we're just celebrating the holidays. It's already almost into March. So we were on earlier today, and we just had some conversation with our community. And we do these sessions to offer an opportunity for citizens or individuals to ask questions that I can respond to and do my best to respond to about the police department, or offer up some conversation or topics that might be concerning to you, or hot topics that we're seeing around the country and how policing training or how we evolve or things that we're doing differently, technology, whatever it might be. But I want to spend the next hour or so here with you and just kind of field some questions. So the first thing I'm going to ask is for anyone who's logged in, if you would just send us a quick message and let me know that the sound is okay and visual is okay. And I mean the visual on the screen, not how I look, right? Just how it's coming across. That just because I haven't touched anything, it just allows us to know that people can hear us and see us. So we had I feel like a pretty good session this afternoon. Some really good questions. Some really good questions. Lucas, my friend, thank you. Appreciate that. So first, loud and clear. So that sounds perfect. So we had a good session earlier today. Is it Char? Help me,
Charlotte.
Charla. Sounds good to me. That's perfect. Cameron, my friend, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. So yes, we had our earlier session today. Some really good questions. And some challenging things happened this afternoon, but I'm glad to be back here with you this evening. So, Crystal, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you all for being here. It just kind of helps us gauge a little bit the sound and make sure we're coming across okay. And sometimes the screens will jump. Sarah, thank you. I appreciate that. So, Maria, thank you. Thanks for being here. So, how we'll work today is as questions come in, I'll address them. I'll try to hit each one. Sometimes with Facebook, when the questions come in, the screen jumps. So it may take a minute. Matt was here with me earlier. Kelly is here with me this evening to make sure I don't mess anything up, but she'll be working with me. Joy, thank you. I appreciate that. So she'll spend the evening with me, and I'll try to address every question. I don't want to get too far in depth on cases. I don't want to do that something over the internet system through social media. But if you have a question, I can give you like a 50-foot view. But I just don't want to get specifics. Out of respect to individuals who have open cases that might be in the court proceedings, or cases that are still ongoing. Correct. So I just share that with you. Melena, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's good for you to be here. Anna, thank you. I appreciate that. You too. I hope you're having a good and safe night. So I'll start out by just kind of talking a little bit. I was just reviewing the crime numbers before I came in here, where we're at, talk a little bit about some things going on. I'll try not to repeat myself too much, but there are some things that didn't get people that may have not caught the afternoon session may want to know. So I'll try to hit some of those. But yeah, I'm looking forward to just kind of have some open discussion or any questions you might have. So a couple things going on here in the department. Currently, the department has got about a 15% reduction in crime. We got off to a really good start. Our homicides are down from this time last year. Our shootings are down from this time last year, and we've seen some spikes in robberies, but some of that is reporting purposes only. That's a little confusing. I really don't like to get into it to bother people about it, but there are some laws changed, and some reports are done by some incidents are done by reporting, but not crimes, if that makes sense. So here's an example. If I go into a 7-Eleven store and I steal a candy bar, last year and this year, the actual charge is theft. If I'm banned, so hey, Steve, you stole from us last week, you can't come back in our store. If I come back in your store again, it's not a trespassing. it is a burglary, reporting purposes wise, for the report. But the charges that someone would face would be trespassing. So that is done by the higher ups. The FBI is trying to get crime across the country to be the same in this NIBRA system. So some of my concern is that we kind of over-report. It concerns me. So we're trying to find some ways to break that out, that what are real burglaries and real burglary charges as opposed to burglary reports that are trespassing charges. So that's one of the things, and it kind of falls in the same category with robbery. If you use any threatening language, the report can be taken as a robbery. So we're trying to work with our friends at State Police, but I probably by the end of March I'll have it figured out how to separate that. Because I want, when we talk about robbery, I need to know that someone's been taken by force, right? Force, threat, intimidation, and then aggravated assault is an aggravated assault. So I just want to make sure we report the crime accurately, and there's a difference between actual crime and what the reports are. But like I said, I didn't want to go down that road, but I just want to be honest with you. South Precinct has got a good reduction in crime. Central is seeing a good reduction in crime. North is a little bit up, and it's stemmed from burglaries and robberies, and some of that is reporting. We usually go over the crime every Monday as a group. They weren't here. We weren't here because of the holiday, so I just got to report in this afternoon and was going through it before we came here. But we got off to a really good start. This time last year, we've had 4 homicides. We've had 2 this year. One of those is cleared. This time last year, we had 13 individual shootings. We currently have 7. It's almost a 50% reduction in both categories. So I know we're 6-8 weeks, but it helps me look at our strategies. I think some strategies we put into place towards the end of the year that paid off for us have carried over into the first part of the year. But we don't want to just rest on that. And let me say this while we're talking. Those reports, although they're statistics and numbers, they're also people, they're incidents, neighborhoods, and communities. And I don't lose track of that. But I do look at how we're trending, and are our strategies working and being effective, or are we not seeing those reductions? Good Lord has blessed us. We got up to a really, really good start, and I'm very, very thankful. I think that plays part into the things we did at the end of the year, some different strategies, but also the community buy-in, the detectives, the officers, the relationships, the partnerships we're building in the community have led to some quick arrests. Like I said, we've had 2 homicides this year, and 1 has already been cleared by arrest, and that was directly because of community engagement and involvement. So let me get back here. Joy, I sent you the pictures and the speed limit signs in Killen Creek from earlier that you could take a look at. Joy, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I certainly will. And I'll have kind of a conversation with downtown and with the precinct. I have not had a chance to look at them myself, but if you send them, I certainly will. So thank you. And that was a great conversation earlier today, so I appreciate that. Wanda, good evening. I'm glad, it's good to hear from you. I'm glad you're here. Sarah, thank you for being back. I appreciate that. Much respect. I appreciate that, Sarah. Thank you. Natalie, presence really makes a difference. Natalie, help me. Are you talking about like in the community or being there, showing up, all of that together? Help me a little bit. I want to make sure I'm hitting what you're talking about. But I agree. If we're talking about being in locations and neighborhoods, I could not agree more. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about today. I got to do some pretty cool events at an elementary school last week. I trucked through the dangers in the cafeteria with some 3rd and 4th graders and had a blast. We did a community walk last week. I went to several events, several church events this week, and got to have some community conversations, some questions and answers, and then stayed for the sermon. I really enjoyed that. Down at Trinity Baptist Church was one place I was at. We had a really good conversation. Good people. Yes, yep, Natalie, I couldn't agree more. We probably had about, I would say about 35 officers and some chaplains that walked 35th Street. We did about 8 blocks. Just engage with community. Councilwoman Tina Vick came out and joined us. But I couldn't agree more. I think that's important to be in those neighborhoods and in communities at events. That's why we're going to high school football games. That's why we're having community conversations, we're interacting with our youth. I think presence and being there makes a big difference. I couldn't agree. Warwick Village Shopping Center needs a little more police presence. Natalie, thank you. That's important. See, those conversations are good. Warwick Village. Trying to make sure I know where that. Okay. Is it, Natalie, what are some of the issues that, is it just some concerning? Is it speeding? Is it people hanging out loitering? Or tell me just a little bit from your perspective what you're kind of seeing there, what you'd want us to focus on. But that's exactly, so Natalie, thank you. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Some other things I want to touch base on. I talked about it earlier today. Very, very thankful. We have, I never see community events in the Denby area, any on the calendar. Wow, I know we do a lot of stuff at the Denby Community Center. We're up there at Calvary Chapel a lot. We do a lot of things with their outreach that they do. Yeah, I wonder, I don't know if there's a way we can get you logged in. If you follow us on Facebook, I think we put a lot of our events on Facebook. I know there's a couple walks scheduled up there. We've also done some bin etching in the northern part of the city. I know we hit that pretty heavy at the holiday time in the central and the north with shopping areas and businesses. You know what I should have said? Kelly usually reminds me it's my fault. If there is a community or neighborhood that would like us to come out and walk with them, and I am more than willing. I think that's important for citizens to come out and gosh, and even if it's just me and citizens or a group, I enjoy getting out and talking and just discussing. If you want to have a community meeting and sit down and have some conversation, I think that's great. But is it Charlotte? Am I saying that right? McCann, Mr. Charlotte. If there's, yeah, we try to put that on our Facebook page, but we may not always can see some of the events that we do. I know that's a lot. We're starting moving up northern part of the city. You're talking about all our elementary schools that we have up there. There's a lot of events that we try to do with kids. So yeah, and if there's someplace somewhere that you would like us to be, if you direct message me, like some, is that direct message right term?
Mm-hmm.
If you direct message me in this format, if there's some things that you would like to see us or like to interact with, we can put something together and interact. We have a community outreach division, school resource officers, you have the North Precinct there that's very active. We have our new academy is in the north part of the city. That's just got all kinds of room. It's just good stuff. So yeah, but I will certainly take note of that. Natalie's talking about people hanging out. There's a smoke vape shop, I believe, was robbed a week ago. Natalie, I know exactly now where you're talking about. We have had several break-ins or some property damage at some of the vape shops that we've seen. We've seen that kind of a trend around a little bit. So that's a great point. And we're cognizant. We were looking at some studies on the number of vape shops that have had some issues occur. So I don't know if it's, and I'm not saying that it is, but I don't know if it's some employees, some easy targets with juvenile offenders. We've seen kind of look in both of those scenarios. So yes, I know exactly what you're talking about and what you're talking about. And you're absolutely correct. Is it Peggy?
Mm-hmm.
I sure miss Newport News. Moved to North Carolina in 1984. Warwick High buddies still there. Well, Peggy, I tell you, we miss you too. Warwick High School had a great year last year. Football team was amazing. I got to interact with them a lot and go to see their games. We followed them some as they played some of their championship playoff games. Great school. Got a lot of officers here in the department that are from Warwick High School, and they let me know about that. But absolutely, and I hope you're enjoying life down there in North Carolina. But we miss you too, and if you get back this way, let us know or drop us a line just to say hello. I think that's pretty cool. So, what part of North Carolina are you in down there? And if you don't mind sharing, what part of North Carolina are you in down there in North Carolina? I guess, right? Hey, both my boys are in law enforcement. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute, we got to check this. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
We just.
I got Crystal. Is it possible for ride-alongs with a police officer? Crystal, it absolutely is. If you direct message me a name and number, we can have Amanda or Brittany or Dominique will reach out to you. We have a pretty elaborate ride-along program. You can pick the shift and the area you'd like to ride in. You can do the whole shift or part of that shift. We do a quick background check to make sure things go well there, but it's usually not any issues. And get you a vest and everything, and give you a report time. We have day, evening, and midnight shifts. But if that's something you want to do, absolutely, we can do that. And I think it's very beneficial. You get a really quick insight quickly, right, what police officers do and respond to, the type of calls they go on, and some of the events they get to attend. So that's a great program, and absolutely, I'd love for you to take part if that's something you'd like to do. Warwick Village is for a smoke barbecue. Yep, I know where that is. It was over there today. I took some friends of mine to lunch. We had a good time. Great. Yes, I absolutely know where you're at, and I know about the bait shop that you're talking about. So, yeah, you're absolutely correct, and you're very welcome. Thank you. Both of my boys are in law enforcement now. One is a major, and one a lieutenant. Whoa, 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 Peggy, where are they at? Are they in North Carolina, or what's going on with that? A major and a lieutenant. So, yeah, you got to share a little bit with me. Now I'm jealous. That's awesome. Congratulations, and I'm hoping that they're both well and enjoy what they do. You know, in this job, every day is different. You never know what you're going to face. You know, whatever call you get dispatched, or the phone rings, or dispatcher sends you to a particular call or situation, you never know. You don't know what's on the other side of the door, where you're going to respond, the type of calls. No day is the same. I think that's one of the reasons people enjoy law enforcement so much is because there's such a variety. Whether it's an event that's going on, a city event, youth event, sporting, or a call for service, different types of calls, people you get to interact with. And oftentimes, the calls that we go on are where people are having maybe one of their worst days, whether it's a traffic accident or something critical has happened, or my grandmother or grandfather suffers from Alzheimer's or dementia. We can't find them, and being able to interact. And this job is challenging. It's demanding. It's time consuming. We see things, and I'm sure your sons can both tell you, that I wish no one ever had to see, but it is also extremely rewarding to be able to help people day in and day out, every day. It is a great profession. I've been doing it almost 31 years. I still enjoy getting up and putting this uniform on. Even after I finish today, I'll be in the office doing some paperwork. Saturday, I had an event at Trinity Baptist Church, and I left early to get there. And I just spent like an hour and a half driving around the Southeast community before the service started and the community conversation started, and we just talked. I would stop and drive by. People were out, whatever, waving, stopping and talking, checking on individuals. It was just a good day. I just really, really enjoyed it. So, absolutely. But I would let, what department are they in down there in Carolina? All right, scroll up just for a minute. Let's see where we left off.
Thank you. Thanks.
Both my boys got that. All right, Kat. Hey, Chief. I haven't been online in a while. It's good to see you still doing live chat. Keep up the excellent work, you and your team. Well, Kat, I'm glad you're back. Yeah, we're still doing them. It was kind of awkward for me, I have to be honest, to get used to talking into this round ball with a blue eye. But I do believe that it is very beneficial. And I know, look, life is hard and things happen, families, work, and all that. So this format, people can check it out later on, see it at different times, stop and catch up later. I still like very much in person. I really enjoyed my time at Trinity Baptist Church this weekend with questions and responses and commentary there. Had a really good time. But this is also a format where it allows us to interact. So I'm in a nice, comfortable chair. I got a Diet Mountain Dew beside me. I got good company. Our media relations PIO side of the house, Kelly King, is here, and it's just good conversation. So I enjoy it. I'm getting better at it. They still don't let me touch anything, so that's why I don't do it myself. But I appreciate that. It means a lot. So thank you. Is it Jim?
Yep.
I'm glad to see you're catching the speeders on Atkinson. It is getting dangerous to drive there. Jim, I appreciate that, and that's good feedback. I had a friend of mine earlier on that talked about some speeding on Orcutt. We had done some selective enforcement there. Saw some successes, and he's saying it's starting to pick back up again. So please keep us please keep us posted on what's going on Atkinson Way. Just to keep an eye on that. I think it's important. You know, I don't have the resources. I don't have enough officers to put at every intersection or every street. We try to select some of those locations we do traffic enforcement at, where we're seeing accidents, speeding complaints, and that is a spot that people talk to us about. So thank you. That means a lot. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Did you say Coates?
Coates, I'm not sure what that means.
Okay.
Jeanette.
Janelle, people speeding and running red lights down Huntington Avenue early morning needs attention. Janelle, I appreciate that. Is it, when you say early morning, are we talking like 7, 8 o'clock, like rush hour, people getting to work, or are we talking like 6 or 7 in the morning? And the reason I just asked, maybe if you can refine it for me, it allows me to manage some resources and when we send officers into that location. I don't want to send them at 10, 11 if they're doing it at 9 or 10 or 7:30, 8 o'clock. So if you give me some time frame, and please don't send back, please don't send back all the time, right? give me some timeframes where you think some enforcement would be beneficial and what you're seeing, and then we can take a hard look at that. But that's exactly the reason we have these conversations. So I appreciate that. And then what happens is I give your request to the precinct captains and allow them to use some selective enforcement in those neighborhoods like we did in Orcutt and like we did in Atkinson. So that's great information. Thank you very much. North Carolina, is it Lillington and Raleigh? Wow, okay. Familiar with Raleigh, not so much Lillington, but that's awesome. And please tell them I said hello and to be safe. Ashley, thank you Newport News for doing all. Ashley, thank you very much. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Oh, where'd all these extra posts come in? Miss King, how do we skip all these? So
Pop back up here to Brandon.
So Ashley, thank you very much for that. That means a lot, and it means a lot to officers to see that. What we do, we don't do for accolades and awards and medals. It's comments like that hey, we appreciate what you're doing, where you're at. It means a lot, and I just wanted to say thank you. And believe me, the officers look at these posts, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Brandon, good evening. I recently attended a hiring event in both the Newport News and Hampton Police Department. I was shocked to hear that starting salary for. So, Brandon, let me say this. I know there are some departments that have done some pay plans. We have looked at that. We're aware of that. We have been looking at that ourselves and doing a pay plan ourselves. We are working with our city manager and city officials, budget, and HR division. And they're also aware of those plans. We've had those conversations, and they're looking at that. So it is my hope. Hampton's a great department. Don't get me wrong, but our department, I'd put it up against anybody. Right? We're the fourth largest police department in the state. We rivaled our calls for service rivaled Norfolk this year. It was a large increase. The training here is just phenomenal. We've got our population is 186, 187, Kelly, does that sound? 186, 187,000. So like I said, we're the fourth largest police department. And so I can say that our city management is looking at that. They're aware of that. And I've certainly tried to be open and transparent with officers in our department of where we're at. Myself and the fire chief both have put some plans together and some suggestions. We sent that in, and then I have faith in our city administration that they're going to address some of those things. Pay is always an issue in any profession, but when you're comparing what you have to other departments, there's a lot of things that go into play, and I get that. But I also understand that times are hard. It's the cost of living. I've seen those things increase, and law enforcement evolves, and training evolves, and benefits and salaries, that whole package evolves. So I've got faith in our city management and administration. I've talked to our officers openly about that. I actually have an open forum, I think this week, Kelly, right? I think I have an open forum this week where I'm going to sit down and talk to officers. That's always one of the top questions that are on their minds, and we're just going to be open and transparent. So I can say for me, I believe that Newport News, I want this to be the best police department, certainly on the East Coast. I want this to be the department of choice. I want people to come here because they want to serve, they care about other people, they have a heart of service. All the things on this Batman belt, right, in our driving and policies and law, we can teach you all that. I can't teach people to care about one another, but I want the best candidates. I want good caliber people to come here. Finances and money is certainly a draw in any profession, as it is in law enforcement. I said earlier today, and I'll say it again, the best thing we have, you can give me all the technology in the world. If I don't have somebody to run it, it doesn't matter. The best commodity that we have are the men and women who do this job day in and day out. We just saw what happened in Kansas City, right? God forbid that only if something like that ever happened. You never wish that on anyone. You try to learn from other cities or things that has happened. We've had some situations in our city, Brandon, that other people have called and say, hey, what can we learn from that? The men and women in this uniform run into buildings. They run towards danger. I've asked them to put themselves in harm's way, and I will tell you, I can't pay them enough for that. They go to work, and they have to realize that, and they do, they don't like to talk about it, nor do their families, but they do. They don't know if they're coming home. They don't know what kind of calls they're going to respond to. I guarantee you no one in Kansas City thought there would be anything like that that happened. Former Chief Carvello, I spent a lot of time talking to him. He was a mentor of mine in situations that happened in Virginia Beach or in other Chesapeake with the shooting at the Walmart, issues we've had here in our own city. I can't pay men and women enough to do what they do. I value them. They matter to me, and I believe that our city administration is going to address the pay issue and some of the concerns or issues that others have. So I say all that to say in a roundabout way, stand by. I'm confident. I have faith in them, and we'll work together to make this department the department of choice. So absolutely. And I appreciate you. It's obviously you're in tune with some things going on in Hampton and Newport News, and so I appreciate that, and I appreciate that comment. It matters, and it matters to the men and women that see that post. It matters to our city officials that see that. So thank you for taking the time to do that. Peggy. Peggy, what are we, Blue Hearts and
Prayers.
so Peggy, if that's offering up blue prayers, I appreciate that. I will tell you that what are those memes? Is that what they're called?
Emojis.
Emojis, right? I don't want to embarrass myself. You got to explain some of those things that come through. A lot of times I got what is that? Kelly, what is that? And sometimes look, Kelly may act like she knows. She may not know. I don't know. So I'm going to take that as blue prayers, and thank you. I'll take everyone. Peggy, I'll tell you, I can't tell you enough that I get cards, letters, emails from pastors, mentors to me that are just citizens, right? That come in and say, hey, we're praying for you. We're praying for the department. We're praying for our city. And God has blessed us. I appreciate that. Like I said, when I get to go to church events or a church concert or question and answers at a church, I just think that's great. So I appreciate that. While I'm at the schools and churches, let me say this before I say good evening to Miss Cox. She's with the NAACP. She does a lot of events with us. She helps us with our use of force review board and our. She's a civilian who sets on our selection process. So there's two things I want to touch base on. First, coming up in, I think it's April, I'm going to go to each high school. Warwick, Achievable Dream, Heritage, each high school, just like we did last year. I'm going to take a group with me, a diverse group, right? Maybe someone from special victims or someone from forensics. Everybody likes talking to the forensics technicians, Keller. They want to talk to them more than me. Crime scenes, special victims who investigate crimes against youth or children, a canine officer, a detective. And we're just going to go to each high school, and we're going to use those young adult police commissioners to facilitate that and have conversation and dialogues. And young people can ask whatever they want. And sometimes it moves a little slower. They're afraid, but usually once the questions start rolling, it really opens up. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to do each high school. They're putting together a schedule now. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to help break some barriers with the Latino community. I know of two churches that I'm going to, the congregation, the Latino service, and then after the service so I'll go to the service, right? And then after the service, I will take questions or just commentary, much like we're doing here. I got to have a translator to help me. I can do a little bit, un poquito. I can do a little bit, but I'm looking forward to that. And may have some members from City Council or the mayor join me in some of those. I think that would be good to hear from our Latino brothers and sisters here. And I don't want language to be a barrier. And I don't want age and youth to be a barrier. So interacting with both of those groups I think is important. We work with the young adult police commissioners. That's a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior from each high school. 6 high schools, that's 24 kids. This year we have 40. I have no idea where they all came from, but they are great kids. But I'll tell you, they're not all, it's not 4.25, right? It's a variety. The individuals that are in that program, I learned as much from them, that we learned as much from them as they do for us. We just took them down to City Council. They got to talk to the mayor and City Council. Told them a little bit about bridging the gap between police and youth, how important those conversations are. Young people are so much more advanced today than we were. The stuff they can do with technology, I'm like, how do you set the computer up? And I get teased about how old my cell phone is, and these kids, man, wow. So I enjoy that, but I'm going to be going to the high schools and some of the Latino churches, especially, just to build some relationships, just to have some conversations. So, Ms. Cox, I got you. Thank you for being here. Ashley, thank you, Newport News. Ashley, thank you. We hit that. Youngest may run for sheriff. Peggy, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You gotta stay in touch and let us know how that goes. That's a story right there. And congratulations. Between 5 and 7 a.m. See, so when you said early morning hours, I would have thought automatically 7:30 to 8:30 people going to work. 5 to 7, that's good to know. So I appreciate. Yeah, I will pass that on, and we'll see what we can do for you there. Very good. Think. What's it say? Think of your often. Pray for you more than that. It's Jane, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jane, first off, some people text me like, Chief, why don't you wear your glasses? So they're reading glasses, that's all. But the lights are bright in here, right? So it's dark, but the light is bright, so there's like a glare. So Miss Whalen will say, I don't know why you don't wear your glasses when you're out. They're reading glasses. And but anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But thank you for praying for us. You know, we had several events last year where clergy came and of all varieties and met outside of police headquarters and prayed for officers, prayed for myself with decisions and ideas and for our city and for safety of our community, safety of our youth. And that's important to me. I'm humble with that and I appreciate it. And it means a lot. So I'll take every one of those prayers and thank you for it. Chief, I've been trying for a long time to get on. To get on what, Ms. Cox? On the panels or what? Help me. Or am I reading that wrong, Kelly?
No, I'm not sure.
Yep. Tell me, Ms. Cox, it says, Chief, I've been trying for a long time to get on. Oh, maybe to get on the, get a message posted or something. I don't know. Joy, look what happened in Minnesota. Sadly, lost 3 over a senseless domestic dispute. Yeah, I will tell you, Joy, it's funny you said that because the 2 calls that are the most dangerous for law enforcement, traffic stops and domestic violence. And oftentimes, domestic situations, right, you're dealing with family dynamics. And when police get there, the aggression from family member to family member turns on police. Those are very dangerous calls that we go on. We always send at least 2 officers on those calls. Traffic stops the same way with window 10, and we don't know who we're pulling over in the car. We know what the license plate says, but we don't know who's driving. We don't know who else is in that vehicle. So I'll share with you that officers get concerned as much as, you know, like, I know if I get stopped in a car, I'm like, oh my gosh, I get a little nervous, and officers are the same. We don't know who we're walking up to. But yeah, you're right, sad, and we have certainly had our share of domestic violence situations in our city. We, in fact, hired a civilian a couple years ago, Dr. Cheryl Shavers, who works with us, helps train officers better how to respond to domestic violence, how to treat victims. But she does a lot of outreach, a lot of discussions. She's been at Fort Eustis, different church groups. She works with the young adult police commissioners, students. And I just think that's important to talk about domestic violence. What are good relationships? What's abusive relationships? And I learned that some of it's not physical, right? But I think that's pretty progressive to bring civilians in to look at the domestic violence situations. She also calls every member of domestic violence the following day to check on them, to offer resources, to see if there's anything else we can do. She does a phenomenal job and has really changed how we do domestic violence in the Newport News Police Department. Natalie, love the police department and Mayor Philip Jones are going out into the community. It's important to the young children as well. Let me tell you, Natalie, wow, you're locked in because to see that, and I'll tell you something about our mayor. So he's very active, right? It's hard to keep up with him. But I got a call last week. Was it last week? Where he likes to interact with the departments in the city and wanted to go. So we were doing defensive tactics, ground fighting, if you will, right? And it teaches officers techniques, right? Techniques and takedowns and all this stuff. So he wanted to participate. So I was giving him a hard time on Sunday. There were some videos out there and some shots of him. That's our recruit class, so 24 recruits in the class. So some of the instructors worked with him, with the mayor, right? And I'm like, just use him as the demonstration. He's got to run a city. I don't want him to get hurt. So I got like 4 recruits that are like, man, the mayor worked us over. So I'm like, what in the world? What happened? What happened out there? Like, Chief, we can't tell you, we can't. But no, he got to interact with the recruits. They absolutely loved it. Just to see him interact with them. And I don't mean he just stood and watched. I mean, he was on the mat, right? He was throwing them around. They were throwing him around. But yeah, a couple of them said they got bruises from the mayor. So I'll have to take that up with him. But I think it's important, and that's what I was talking about when, I think it was Brandon that brought up some issues with pay and salary and stuff, comparing Hampton and Newport News. I think it is important that we're out together. I think it sends a strong message to our community, to our citizens here, youth and adults. And I will tell you, the conversations I have with him, very concerned about what goes on in the city, wants to be involved. I'm calling him on anything that we have tragic, and the first thing is, do you need me there? Is there anything I can do? What do you need? Do you have everything you need? Or we just have a conversation like, how's things going, Chief? And I know we're just one faction of everything that goes on in the city, but I will tell you, some cities don't have that. I feel like we have a great relationship with our mayor, our vice mayor, Curtis Bethany, our city council, our city manager. And those things are important because every city doesn't have that. And I feel, now they ask hard questions, but as they should. And I think it's just great that we can sit down and have those conversations and talk about things. Crime goes up and down. Good things happen, bad things happen, and we have to respond to that. And to have the relationship that we do, that I do, I'm very fortunate and very, very thankful. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I thank them all for that, and I don't take it for granted. So thank you. That's a great point. Good evening. Am I reading that right? Sylvia? You got to help me with some of that, with that glare, Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Sylvia. Yeah, I know who that is. Sylvia, yeah. Oh, my gosh. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope family's good. Thank you for chiming in. I haven't seen you in a while, but I hope everything's going good with you and your family. Yeah, you got to bring me up to speed on what you're doing now there. That's good. Peggy, both boys are almost 25 years in law enforcement. Well, any job, Peggy, that people do for 25 years is admirable. But in this profession, the things they see and have to respond with, there's a bond I think that policemen and military as well know. And 25 years is a long time to do this job. And you really have to have a heart for service to do that. And that's why I still believe the best thing that we have in this profession are men and women who do the job day in and day out. You put this uniform on, not Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You work your shift on a good day, you don't get held over. Or on a good day, you don't have to come back in on your day off. But it happens. And to do that and sacrifice, run towards the danger, I can think of no profession more challenging. And there's been a big falling away. We don't see the same number of people applying. It's very important for us to hold on to officers who join this department. We don't want them to go to other agencies. I don't want to, encourage them to stay here in this city because their experience and training is here, and they just do a great service and great job. So congratulations to both. 25 years, that's amazing. Got to go. God bless and yours. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I appreciate that. Natalie, when we had the shooting at Warwick Village late August, all of you came out. Much appreciated. And Natalie, I think that is exactly what you just posted is exactly what I'm talking about. It has to be a group effort, not just the police department. We're not going to be able to arrest our way out of that. It would play a role, don't get me wrong, but to have all the city involved, the city officials involved, to see what happens and how it affects our communities, our neighborhoods, how it affects people, that matters. And what makes a city go? People. You can talk about businesses and all these different, but it's the people who run the businesses, the teachers in the schools, the students in the schools, the men and women who are the first responders, dispatchers that are taking those calls. All those things play a role, right? The hospitals, yeah, but it's people in the hospitals. It's not just brick and mortar. It's the men and women who do the job, who interact day in and day out. So I could not agree with you more. I think when people talk about it takes a village, I think you're exactly right. And bringing different groups to the table, but having our elected officials involved, I think is just a tremendous asset. I think it's one thing to read a report on paper, sit behind the desk. It's another to be in the community. Well, we just had our walk. We just walked, Kelly, Friday, right? 35th Street. Councilman Tina Vick came, and that's her district. She walked with us, and she told me afterwards, she said, Chief, to see officers interacting with kids, people coming off their porch and talking to men and women in the department, she went, this is amazing. And I mean, she walked it. She didn't do a block and wait. She walked it. She pulled a couple of the female officers aside and probably gave them a little bit of advice and encouragement and talked to them a little bit, but I was really moved that she came and walked with us. The mayor does just about every walk with us. I think that's important, and I'm very, very appreciative. I know they're busy people. They got a whole city to run. that it's an opportunity that we can get out together and interact with our community and citizens. It's just great. Kathy, appreciate the work you do. Don't live in Newport News, but have a student at CNU. Well, I will tell you that is a great school. A short story, there was a friend of mine that I went to the police academy with when I started, and his daughter sat right beside me. He said, "Hey, can you watch my daughter?" So I got to watch his daughter when he got promoted to sergeant, right? So that tells you how long ago, because I'm getting up there, right? So we're best of friends. I see his daughter grow up. She's playing softball in high school, and she plays in a tournament down here in Newport News. So she's talked to me. She's talking about going to some school in Richmond, VCU, some school in Richmond, and I just talked about CNU, and she went and did a tour, and she fell in love with it, right? And get this, she graduates this year. So yes, excellent school. President Kelly, we have a great relationship. Matter of fact, President Kelly has told me over and over and over, Chief, let me know when you're going to do a walk. I want to come out and walk with you. So I'm going to let it get a little warmer, and I plan to call on him right often to come do some walks in the community. How great would it be, right? The senior or college or high school kids, hey, the Chief's walking with the president of CNU, and come up and ask him questions. Talk to him about college life and what it's like at CNU. What better ambassador? So I just think those things are important, and sometimes bringing people out together, it's a great move. Kelly, am I caught up with everybody? We didn't miss anybody. I didn't skip over anybody. Nobody got missed. I hope not either. And she says that because sometimes we'll finish and we'll kind of do a quick glance over, like, oh my gosh, there's 2 people we didn't. So if I haven't answered anybody's questions, please resend it. Right? I don't mean to forget anyone. And charge it to my heart if we skipped over. There's been some good conversation tonight. We got a little bit of time left, so I'm going to spend it with you. We talked about the academy. The next class that graduates, the class of 24, graduate in March. The city is invited to that. All citizens are invited. I try to make that a true event here in our city. I appreciate men and women who do this job, and then they graduate 7 or 8 months. They get mad at me because I keep adding extra classes on psychology or a class on sociology, right? How an event in one neighborhood can affect the whole city. We saw that. History. I think it's important for us to learn a little bit of history of our city. When did the shipyard come into existence? When did we annex Warwick? What's the history of the Southeast community? What are some of the challenges that Newport News has faced over the years? I think that's important. When we close our computers down for a week in the academy and we put the recruits in the field and they interact on a community base, right? Like they're interacting with individuals who suffer from addiction. We're at Four Oaks, which is a day reporting center for individuals that are homeless or looking for health care or for job placement or training. They interact with our elementary schools and sporting events, reading to kids in the library. I think that's important. Having lunch with them in the lunchroom, interacting with our high school students, walking in the community and neighborhood, introducing themselves, having conversations with the young adult police commissioners, the high school students, about what they expect from each other. That's important. So I invite you to our graduations. I'm telling you, it's an event in our city. And I remember when I graduated from my department, where I started, and it's just a good day. And I will tell you, before I don't want to forget Natalie, who said she's looking for a new office job. Natalie, the answer is yes. Hang tight. But I remember when I graduated, I still remember that day, and our department is extremely diverse. If you go back and look at any of our graduations, we usually graduate 3 academies a year. It is a tremendous diverse academy. We have individuals that can speak Arabic, Russian, Hispanic, German, not only in race and gender, but life experiences, different backgrounds, very, very, very diverse. And I think that's important. I think it's important that we're reflective of our community, that we have individuals that are homegrown here and know neighborhoods and individuals. We're also bringing people from outside of the city of Newport News, outside of the state of Virginia, that have different ideas and thoughts, right? And you blend all that together, I think you get a much better product. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I would, and I want to invite, please watch our Facebook page. We'll post the dates and location of that graduation. And then right behind them, at the end of June, 1st of July, is the next class that has currently 17 or 18 individuals in that class. So I'm looking forward to that. Precincts are looking forward to that. And if you ever watch like the NFL draft, it's kind of what like it is when they pick the recruits. They all try to get the inside scoop. Who does this well? Who has this talent? Who can speak this language? Who would work best in our precinct? And then we set the selection, and then they go at it. And they're on the clock. You got to make a pick. And then sometimes they'll make trades. And who's the better? You know who. So we make it a fun day, a fun event. So Natalie says, I'm looking for a new job, an office job. I'm available if you have openings. So Natalie, we do have positions. We have positions in dispatch. I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in. We have a records division with civilians. We have a logistics, what helps us with clothing and supplies. So there's a lot of opportunity if that's something that you're interested in. Maybe direct message your number to us or call us, and I can have a background investigator reach out to you personally and kind of see what you're interested in. But we do have that. There's a lot of positions in the department besides just sworn position. I still caught up, Kelly? I haven't missed anybody? So we talked about our graduation. We talked a little bit about some of the issues we're facing. Talked about some community events that are going on. So March is, just to give you some events, March is graduation of recruit class. April is, am I right, Kelly, award ceremony. May is police Memorial Week. June will follow up the second class of graduation. Then we get into July, right? The 4th of July holiday and in the middle of the summer. I'll go to, myself and others will go to each high school graduation. We do that every year. Again, somebody talked earlier about presence and showing up and being there. I think that's important. I just like those kids as they come across that stage, if they look up by chance, that they're going to see members of the Newport News Police Department at graduation. I think that's important. One of the other things I want to touch base on is this is the month of February is, I should have touched base on this already too. But this is Black History Month. And one of the things that we've done here in our department is we've done some clips on social media. They're on our Facebook page of some officers that have talked about African Americans who have made some great impacts in law enforcement. And testimonials, they're short, but I encourage you to look on and just listen to some of the things, barriers that some of the African Americans in law enforcement went through. And they're all pretty touching, I have to say. But there's one that I always touch base on in the month of February, and that is an individual that I've come to learn a lot about, admire, do some reading on, still people in the community that know him, and that is George Austin. So some may say, who is George Austin? So George Austin joined the department in 1947. Officer Austin was in the Navy. He was in World War II. He fought for our country. Here from Newport News, when he left the military, he joined the police department, and he did 35 years here. He was not allowed to have a police car at the time. He was assigned a walking beat in a certain area of town that he would walk. But people knew him, and he built a tremendous relationship. Chief Grinstead, probably our department historian, or one of them, shared with me, and I said, Mike, how do you know so much about George Austin? He said, because he was the chief that hired me. Why is that important? So George Austin, the only African-American chief in the Newport News Police Department in its history. And he was the first African-American lieutenant in the state of Virginia. So we asked a little bit, tell me a little bit about him. So the stuff I read, books, articles that have, or some interviews that he did. But Mike talks about that he would walk the community and people knew him. And he would stop by and check businesses. And sometimes on a lunch break, he would go out and walk on Huntington Avenue. At the end of the day, he would walk the block before he went home. And the people knew him. And Mike even talks about, Chief Grinstead even talks about that he was doing community policing in the late 40s and 50s, and even as the chief here, before we even started talking about it in the 80s, what community policing was. So those interactions, I think, is important. He left a big impact on this department, and his picture, along with others, the chiefs of our department, hang on the wall here on the third floor. But it's pretty impressive, and to read a little bit about him, he has a mural that's painted on the Boys and Girls Club on Hampton Boulevard here in Newport News with other leaders. But when I talk to some citizens in the community, they talk a lot about his smile, how he interacted, what he did after law enforcement, after his career ended here in law enforcement. But it's just pretty impressive. So I like to, out of respect, highlight him in the month of February, to talk about him a little bit. And it's just to me, it's just impressive, showing respect. Like I said, wasn't even allowed to have his own car, or was only allowed to patrol or walk certain areas when he started. And he rose through the ranks to be the chief of police here as an African American. He's made tremendous contributions. So I want to thank African Americans for the work that they have done, some of the challenges that they've had to overcome in this profession, and not just what they have done, but what they're doing, what they will do, what they continue to do. I think it's important to have a diverse department, and African American have played a tremendous role in the Newport News Police Department where we are today, and I'm thankful for that. SRO Appreciation Day was last week, so I got to spend a little bit of love, show a little bit of love to our school resource officers and highlight them. They do a great job with building relationships with communities and those type things. I've got one particular officer who's been asked to, the girls basketball team in Mitchville went to a state championship in Richmond. They asked him to go with them, and a wrestler who's going for some championship matches outside of our jurisdiction has asked SROs to go with them. And I've got SROs who are been asked to coach football teams in the program. So they're doing exactly what we asked them to do. So Kelly, how did that last post get through here? I thought we were screening some of these. So Mr. Blanchard. So I have to tell you a story. We just did a promotion ceremony, and remember the young adult police commissioners that we were talking about? Well, every ceremony we have, award ceremony, promotion, memorial service, graduation, all of that, we always have a high school student as a guest speaker. And this girl from Warwick High School, man, she knocked it out of the park. I mean, she was just telling officers, we respect you, thank you for what you do, please protect us, having a great conversation. And as she says, before I close, I just want to say that Skip Blanchard is the best school resource officer in our city. And as I'm following her speech, I'm like, wait, what did she just say? And as I look up, in the back of the auditorium is Skip Blanchard. And I don't know if he put her up to it. I don't know what it cost him. Probably some McDonald's Happy Meals at lunchtime, or some rides or something. I don't know, but yeah, he got me, and he zings me. And I'm sure Detective Trong heard about all that and watched about that as well. But yeah, Skip, I'll give you a little bit of props for chiming on here. I appreciate the work that you do. You do a great job at Warwick High School. I know you certainly have won over the principal there, Dr. Mason. I don't know how you won her over, but she threatens me every time to make sure you don't move my SROs. So, but that is a perfect example of relationships. And I can tell you, every high school, every middle school, those SROs build relationships. I think that is one of the most important positions that we have when it comes to community relations, is interacting, working with young people, students, giving them an outlet if they want somebody to talk to. And again, football games or whatever it is, the SROs, it's fitting, right? So why are you talking so much about Blanchard? Well, it's SRO Appreciation Day. We'll make it Appreciation Days, right? But the stuff that they do at football games and basketball games and sporting events and stuff at schools, and they have late events. Yeah, they do a great job. And Skip is one of those SROs. The other passion Skip and I both share is we're both big baseball fans. And spring training is going on as we speak, Skip. And I look forward to baseball season right around the corner. Enjoy. I appreciate you laughing. because you should be laughing at Mr. Blanchard. And I'm sorry he took up some time, but he chimed in. So now he'll hide from me for the rest of the week, but I'll catch up to him, and he'll go the other way. Even if I have to go to Warwick High School, he'll go the other way. But it's all right. Believe me, I will catch up with him. Anna, did he pay her saying? Yeah, Anna, you're right. Yeah, maybe somebody just chimed in. Maybe it wasn't even Skip. I don't know, because I don't know that Skip knows how to work Facebook and all the social media stuff. But yeah, so we've talked about SRO Appreciation Day was last week. We talked about Black History Month. We talked about our 2 recruit classes. We talked about some things we're doing in the community walks. I've got some good input on some areas we'd like to have some traffic enforcement at. We've talked about the men and women. I'm not comparing us to any other department. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want anyone else to do that with us. But I will tell you, the men and women who do this job deserve all the credit. And it is an honor to work with them and be a part. I don't take it for granted. I will tell citizens that we make mistakes every day. We're not perfect. I only know of one person that was. Because we wear these patches and this badge, it doesn't mean that we're better than anybody else. What it means is we're held to a higher standard, and that what I want to see is people who come into this job, or the people who do this job, have a heart for service, that they care about other people, that they want to make things better, they want to make a difference, they want to interact with citizens and youth, and build those relationships because it's important. That is what's important to me. Things are going to happen in our cities and our communities. They're going to happen in our country and our state. But how we respond to those things makes all the difference. Last thing I should say is we do have a recruiting event coming up on this Saturday. There's 2 things I want to share with you. One, I don't even think Kelly knows about. Yeah, it's going to be hot off the press. Ready? I'm on the edge of my seat. But we do have a recruiting event, all-day recruiting event on Saturday. We do 8 to 12, but they never leave at 12. They're usually here till 2 or 3 o'clock. If you show up and you want to join this department, what they do is a lot of different things all on the same day, so you don't have to keep coming back, right? So the test part, the application process, doing the physical agility test, the dummy drag, you go over the wall, pulling the trigger on the firearm, doing the run. It's a good way for us to just do some evaluation. Interview with the department, interview with some citizens, a writing sample, all those things, so you don't have to keep coming back, right? We try to do it all in one day. They've been very beneficial for us. So if you're interested in joining the Newport News Police Department, if you're interested in doing police work, I want this to be the department of choice. Give us a hard look. We'd love to have you come work for us. I'm looking for people who care about other people, who have a heart for service and want to make things better. The other thing, when we talk about departments, was contacted by the NAACP. There's a breakfast also on Saturday. And probably, I don't mean to let the cat out of the bag, but they are recognizing an individual in our department for outstanding service. So I won't say who it is, but he is going to be highlighted and just go over his achievement for his contributions to this community, the department, maybe South Precinct. But I look forward to attending that breakfast. Several officers are going to go with me just to be there for him, and for him to be selected, I thought was pretty cool. And he certainly deserves it. He's a good friend, and he cares about this city, and that matters. So, Kelly, how do we do? 6:58. I caught up on everybody. I've not missed anybody. Skip didn't have any more last requests, anything like that. Everybody so far. Is there anything we didn't talk about that I need to, or any questions I didn't answer? Uh-oh.
Anna's been missing her friends.
It's almost time to go home, she says. Eat something, some hot tea there. Some hot tea and sleep well and have a blessed day. Miss Whalen, I appreciate it. You know what I should have hit on? Congratulations on his recognition. Thank you for that. I'll see you at YAPC. Skip, thank you, my friend. It's good. I know I teased you, but I appreciate you being here tonight. I should have talked a little bit about Monica White and Anna Whalen. Let me do that real quick. Monica White orchestrates our Citizens Academies, and that is a 9 or 10 week, 1 day a week presentation of the police department to citizens. You get an inside look at what the department is like, why we do what we do, gang classes, use of force classes, forensic technicians, homicide, special victim detectives, training academy, internal affairs. It's just a plethora of things that educating the community on the department. Monica White does an amazing job. Citizens love her. I'll get up to talk and they're like, can we hear from Monica? So I sit back down. She does an amazing job. And then Anna, after they graduate the Citizens Academy, the alumni from those academies also have a group that meet, and they give scholarship to seniors off to college. They do a lot of volunteer work. Both groups do. Anna kind of coordinates our things that we do with VIN etching as our on the vehicles for some of the thefts that we see occurring. Same thing with our use of force review board. She helps coordinate that for citizens to sit on that and take part. Drives around the holidays. She's just a big factor, and they're both just amazing people. And I should have mentioned that earlier. If anyone's interested in taking part in those academies, we have a Citizens Academy. We have a Citizens Academy for youth, for seniors, the Citizens Alumni. It's just great groups. Bring those people back together. Anna's group, what she say, 8 weeks is 8 weeks. And I'm just telling you, it's just they have a celebrate. They get a little crazy around Thanksgiving and Christmas with all the celebration. Everybody gains about 10 pounds, but we'll talk about that. But just a great group and the stuff they do for the community, the officers, the department. We also have a great relationship with the Boys and Girls Club. Hal and Rob both do an amazing job. They allow us to come in and interact with the kids, and they do a lot of stuff for our department, huge supporters. The Police Foundation also that puts some things together for us. Fundraising for some things that we get us off the starting block to do some different things, whether it's some plaques and awards, things that they first to buy our outer carrier vest, our medical bags that each officer carries in the department. We're going to work with them to replenish tourniquets, that officers first on the scene, how they use them, not only on ourselves, but citizens that may be in danger or suffered from an injury. But they just do do a lot of stuff with our K-9 division, our pipes and drums. They are probably the biggest supporters of youth events that we have. They help us with our gala at the end of the year for these young adult police commissioners, these great kids. So really, they funded some training for us to bring in some outside speakers, and they just do a great job. So just share that, a little bit of background about the department, some things we have going on. I think we covered most of what we got going up through July, right? July 4th weekend. And then we'll be right back to halfway through the year. I mean, we're almost through February. So thank you for spending a little bit of time with me. Thank you for the questions. I'll tell you, we had really good questions this afternoon and again this evening, some good discussion. Thank you for some of the areas, the comments, and the highlights, some of the issues with speeding, and I appreciate that. And Kim says, make sure I highlight the CIT officers. And Kim, absolutely, hope you're doing better, hope you're feeling better. But our CIT training, critical incident training, CISM is also stress management, how we take care of health and balance, welfare of our officers. And critical incident training is how we deal with individuals that might be suicidal or going through some type of depression or going through a low part in their life where they need some assistance. So we do those trainings. We offer schools throughout the year and in the training academy. I think it plays a big role. We had some situations today that we needed to use some of that experience, and it's beneficial to check on our own officers, right, to make sure that things that they're seeing and responding to, that they're okay. And sometimes we do have a department psychologist. I meant to mention there are certain divisions in the department that are required to have a yearly psychological visit. Our special victims detectives, our forensic technicians, individuals that are on our SWAT team, negotiators, I believe, as well. If not, that's one that we'll be adding. And then the other group, well, they're also, right, you can, if we see that officers have, maybe if you had to respond to a shooting and then you respond to a traffic fatality or someone who's committed suicide, all those things, if we see those critical things pop up, that might be an individual that I want to provide this opportunity that you just sit with the department psychologist and have a conversation because I care about them. The other group that's mandated to go for a psychological is the assistant chiefs and the chief of police. So myself and the other assistants We will have those sessions. I think it's important. You know, people carry a lot of weight on their shoulders, things that they see, decisions that we make. And I think it just helps us to have a clear mind sometimes and talk those things through. And that's also, I think, our chaplain program and our churches, pastors, mentors to me that reach out and just offer prayer, condolences, conversations. I get a lot of pastors that call me, Chief, what are you doing? I'm like, you know, it's the day off. I'm just taking it easy. Chief, what are you doing? Oh, you know, in between meetings, and hey, can I say a prayer with you? And that, I'm telling you, that means the world to me. So, Kim, thank you. That's a great post, and I hope you're feeling better, recovering, and you're doing okay. Thoughts are with you. So I'm going to get off here. Kelly's mad. She's ready to go home, and I don't know how to sign off, so she has to do it. So thank you for joining us. We'll do this again in March. I hope I see a lot of you at our police graduation. But thanks for the time. I really enjoyed it. It's good just to sit and have some conversation, even if it's at a round ball with a blue eye in the center. So God bless. Look out for each other. Joy says thank you for the monthly chats, and have a good rest of your evening. Joy, you too. Thank you. Joy, if you see Skip before I do, try to set him straight. He needs some help. God bless you guys. Thank you very much, and take care.